All right, thanks for joining me. Listen, the ultimate goal, we're talking about extracting maximum cash from your email list, right? The ultimate goal of this video series, and in particular this video that you're watching right now, is to show you ways that you can get the absolute most money from your list. Because, listen, not all list techniques are created equal. Just because you got a list of 20,000 subscribers does not mean that that's going to be filled with money for you. Because let me tell you a little story before we jump into the training here. I've done a lot of product launches, a whole lot. I've worked with various big-name internet marketers. And in particular, I have had my own launches where, I get some JVs on board, for example. And just to tell on myself, this happens to me too, so it's not just them. Okay? But, I'll have people that have a list of maybe 50,000 subscribers, and they'll promote a product for me, and they'll get, maybe 300 hops, 300 clicks, and make a few sales. And then I'll have maybe a JV that has 10 or 20,000 subscribers, and they'll get, like 1,000-2,000 hops and make hundreds of sales. Why is that? It's because of the way that we cultivate our lists. And the same things happen to me, right? I've sent out emails in the past where I would, send out one email maybe to a couple thousand people and get hundreds of clicks. Whereas I might send out a list to a couple thousand people and get, 100 clicks. What's the reason for that? That's what we want to divulge to you in this training. Is there are things that I have learned over the years, things that other marketers have learned to increase the amount of response that we get from our list. And that's really what it's all about, is cultivating your list and getting a better response. Whether that is increasing your open rate, which is how many people, if you send out an email to 10,000 people and 5% of them open the email, that's pretty pathetic, right? When I send out an email, I hope to at least get 50-60% of the people actually open it. And of course, you can attain those numbers. I'm going to show you how with this series. The open rate is one thing to take into account. The action rate, how many people actually do what it is that you ask them to do in the email. Click a link and check something out. Reads, getting people to actually read the email, and of course that leads to the amount of people that take action. So what I've done is I've divided this video up into several different sections. How to increase your writing, the actual email, how to make that be just exactly the best that it can be, what kind of things to put into your content, how to manage your campaign, that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and jump right into cater your writing. First off, know what your list wants. And before I get going here, let me tell you, this particular video that you're watching here is going to be just chock full of some tips and expertise and experience. So we're going to go through it fairly quickly. I've got a couple other videos in line for you as well, but this particular one right here, we're just going to hit topics. I'm going to tell you about them and why you need to do them. So know what your list wants. When was the last time you actually asked your list, what would you like? I mean, it's actually like common sense, right? To know what they want. How do you know what they want? By asking them for it. Set up a campaign. I totally suggest you do this immediately. Set up a campaign with the whole purpose being to find out exactly what your subscribers are looking for. Are they looking for tips to, get traffic? If they are, if you're in the internet marketing niche and your subscribers are looking for ways that they can get traffic, what do you need to do? You need to find products, or you need to develop products, or you need to develop some, put together some free webinars or something where you talk about getting free traffic. Because if you give them what they want, I mean, they're basically making you a list of things that they're willing to buy. If you send out an email right now and say, hey, I really want to know what you're interested in, what you need help with, please help me out, fill out this survey that I've got going. If they take the time to actually do that, They're basically saying to you, hey, if you show me a product that's on this, I'm going to buy it from you. I mean, it's that simple. Write like you speak. One tactic for this, it's kind of hard for people. They tend to flip-flop and change like into some kind of editor or publisher when they write an email. The most effective emails that you can write will be ones that sound like they're really coming from you sitting down one-on-one with an individual. So a tactic for doing this is after you have outlined everything that you really want to convey to the individual and you have learned the tactics of what to include in your email, formulate that in such a way where you just basically sit down, and it's best if you can grab yourself a microphone and do a little recording. Write like you're talking to one person and then record your email. What would you say to them? And then you basically want to listen back to that and write that just like you talk. So write like you speak and write to one individual. Don't write to a group of people. Yeah, you're going to send this out to 10, 15, 20,000 people, but one person at a time is actually going to read your email, and this email needs to touch that one person. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you some things to include in your email. Get those in mind, kind of write them down as an outline, and then talk, just like you would one-on-one with an individual. One of the first things you want to do in your email is tell them who you are. Do this in the very first paragraph. You might say, hey, this is Jeremy Burns, and I want to talk to you about whatever. Okay, so tell them who you are. Right? This alone will increase conversion rates because they more than likely get a lot of email from a lot of different people. And especially if they're in a pretty highly competitive niche, they probably get, emails from several marketers that are in that niche. So what you need to do is after you have cultivated your list like I'm going to share with you in this video, you're going to get a much greater response if you tell them right away who you are. If they see in the email, oh, this is so-and-so. I like his stuff, so I'm going to pay attention. That increases your read rate, which, of course, increases your action rate. Tell them the benefit of what it is that you got going in that email. Tell them right away, immediately after you tell them who you are. The way that you do this is, I'm going to touch a little bit more about the content in the next slide, but it's basically giving them a preview. Tell them what it is that you're going to do for them immediately. That's very important so that they see that, you kind of want to weed out the people that won't be interested anyway, but you want to make sure that you grab the people that would be interested. If they have sent out to you, if they responded to your survey and said, hey, I need some training on getting free organic traffic, then you're going to say, hey, this is Jeremy Burns, and I want to show you how to get loads of organic traffic absolutely free. So you tell them the benefit right away, tell them who you are. Then you want to close with a personal message. One of my favorite tactics to put in an email, and this is very powerful, folks, is before you're getting ready to close, you've delivered what it is that you want them to do, and they've got the call to action and all of that. You need to put right in there, not just to your success, blah, 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 Jeremy. No, you want to put a personal message like, hey, I'd really like to make sure this works out for you. So if you've got any questions or if you run into some kind of problem, make sure you send me an email and I'll see if I can help you out. Regards, Jeremy Burns. And they put your email address right there where they can actually get a hold of you. You know what this does? It's not that you're going to get like a flood of emails now just because you put that in there. But what it does is psychologically it tells them, hey, this individual is personally interested in helping me out, helping me to be a success, whether that success is losing weight, building muscle, repairing my credit, or buying a house, getting into real estate, doesn't matter what it is. They're actually interested in helping me. So I'm going to listen to what they say. And if they recommend that I should, click on this link and check this opportunity out, then I'm going to do it. So it's just, it's something that you're adding in there to give it, again, that personal touch, like I actually care. And when we start out with that personal touch and throughout the email, it's got that, when you're writing to one individual and they feel that, they sense that, it increases your response dramatically. Content tips. Touched on this just a moment ago. Quickly give them a preview. You need to share with them what it is that you're promoting, how it's going to benefit them. And they need to see that right away. That way, if you jump into some big, long story, that doesn't, it's not going to so much catch them as so much as if you would to tell them, here's the result of what I'm going to, what this is all about. Let me illustrate that for you. If I'm into After Effects and Photoshop and all these things that have to do with creating some pretty dazzling, killer-looking content, and one of the things that catches my attention is when a tutorial that I watch online, or maybe I buy a lot of training, and as a matter of fact, I bought one on After Effects just last week, and I got it, and they'd use, the reason that it caught my eye and that I bought from them is because they use this very tactic. Their tutorials do not start out with, hey, we're going to make some really killer text, and the first thing you need to do is push this button. They don't do that, okay? And then you got to wait till the end. When I see tutorials online that do that, where they start out right away in the tutorial, and then you go through, and then you get to the end of the tutorial, and then there's the finished result. It's like when I see a tutorial like that, and it starts out step by step, and it doesn't interest me. I move on. It's like I want to see up front, what is this tutorial going to teach me how to do? So this tutorial series actually that I bought online, that's the way that they do it. In their tutorials, they're like, and it's on After Effects, so it takes a long time to build up this project, right? So what they do is they show you right at the beginning, hey, here's what we're going to make, and they push the play button, and they let you see how dazzling it is. And that hits you, right? It relates to you. You're like, hey, I can make that? And that hooks you. You're like, okay, I want this. Because it's going to they show you right up front, here's what we're going to show you make. Same kind of thing holds true for your marketing. You want to show them, look what I'm going to do for you. You have to sell the dream. And that of itself is going to make people read the emails more. So if you can relate to them, here is the benefit. I'm going to give you kind of like right in the first paragraph, right after I tell you who I am, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for you, and then they're going to continue to read. Use several links in your emails. This is contingent on the size of the email, obviously, okay? But minimum, really, you want 2 in there. And it's the same link. That I want to stress that. The same link to the same thing, not several different links, which I'll mention that later on. But you definitely want to give them multiple opportunities to go to your offer, whatever that offer is. If it's a longer email, then you'll think about, 3 or 4 links in the email. You got to be careful because you don't want to, have any deliverability issues. And if you've got like a high spam score, which is another thing we'll talk about later, that's going to, one of the things that triggers that is a bunch of links, a whole bunch. But if it's a pretty long email, having 3 or 4 links in there is okay because there's a lot of content along with it. One of the things for your content, one of the things that you can do that will excite people is to do an interview. With this, you find, let's say you're going to promote a product. You've got 10,000 people on your list, and they're all interested in this specific niche. So you're looking for a new product to promote. Instead of just sending out a blast that says, hey, come check out this site and buy it. Instead of doing that, you're going to take a little bit of care and planning by contacting the creator of that product. See if you can get them to do an interview with you, just maybe on the phone. Email is okay, but it's better if you can do it over the phone and record it. And then what you do in your email, instead of just blasting them and say, hey, check this out, you tell them, I've got an exclusive interview with Jeremy Burns, and we're going to talk about private label rights. And then you give them a link to a page where they can go and they can listen to it. And of course, right on that page, you can have an opt-in box, and you can also have a link where they can go ahead and make the purchase with your affiliate link, of course. All right. Now, that is extremely powerful, especially if you can incorporate video. Like one thing that you can do, and you don't even have to have an audience for this, right? But you can go to GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, something like that, and you can do a PowerPoint presentation, or you don't have to get all big and complicated. Your PowerPoint presentation can consist of simply a screen with a picture of the product and a picture of the person that you're interviewing, and maybe your picture, and a website where you want them to go to. That can be displayed the whole time. But you record, the main part is that you're recording the audio and you're interviewing this person. And then when they click the link, you can say, hey, I got this, a video, I did an interview, whatever. And they click it, they come to the page, there's a play button, they click that, and the interview starts. The screen does not have to change. It's just a nice shot of the product and a couple pictures, you and the person that you're interviewing, and a site, maybe an address there. Well, they listen to the interview. Right there on the page, you've got a button where they can click and make a purchase. Conversions are crazy with something like that because it's totally convenient. You're going to get a lot of response and a lot of traffic. Do your own thing. If you're going to, let's say you're going to promote something, a lot of times these people have like cookie cutter emails that you can send out to your list. What I recommend, your list, they know how your writing style, right? They know if you wrote something. If you go sign up for some affiliate program and you grab one of those solo ads and you just paste it and send it out to your list, they'll detect that. They'll know that that was something that somebody else made and you're sending out because they know your style. And one of the biggest things that marketers can do nowadays to differentiate themselves is have that style. Very, very important. All the big name marketers do that. They have a specific style that they write as, and people know, hey, they wrote this. If they just take somebody else's stuff and they paste it in there and blast it to their list, they know somebody else wrote this. This is not so-and-so. So do your own thing. Yes, you can take their email and use it kind of as a template. Use it more as something that's informative. Like read through it and see if there's anything that would tell you a little more about the system, the offer that you're promoting, and see if there's anything you can learn from it. But then sit down and do your own thing. That's, you're going to get a much better response if people see that it's actually from you. You only want one response. I cannot tell you how many times I get emails from people that I don't know what it is that they really want me to do. In the email, honestly, there'll be 3 or 4 options, and either it's just too confusing or I'm not, I don't got time to go through all of that kind of stuff. So what do I end up doing? I trash it. And that's what a lot of people do with it. The way that you make an email campaign effective is that when that one email goes out, you've written it to one individual, and you have one response in mind. When you sit down to create an email, think, what is the one thing that I want this individual to do? And you get one person in your mind. You sit down, you focus on, picture, if you will, the perfect customer, your perfect subscriber. And think in your mind, have them before you in your mind. Close your eyes if you have to, if it helps. Have them before you and think, this is the person that I'm writing to. What is the one thing that I want them to do right now? I'm not going to send them a list, an email message that says, watch this YouTube video and click here to find out more information about XYZ that I've got. And I've also got a buddy that is he's got a new product out. It's pretty hot. You want to check that out. That's ridiculous. You're not going to send out an email like that. What kind of response are you going to get? Have one thing in mind that you want them to do, and that's the whole focus of that email. If that is to register for a webinar, that's all you're going to talk about. If it's to watch a free video that you made, that's all you're going to talk about. None of this hit and miss kind of shotgun. They call it shotgun preaching, and it doesn't work. You just try to hit everything. It doesn't work. Campaign management. Create micro lists. This is where I subdivide my lists. So I might have a general, let's say internet marketing. I've got a general internet marketing list. I will also have a traffic list. You might even do pay-per-click traffic. You could do free traffic, SEO kind of traffic. You could do banner ad traffic. You could divide that up so that what you do is to your main list, you might send out, hey, I've got something I want to talk to you about with pay-per-click traffic. You send them to a landing page first off, and that's going to be, I think I mentioned that later. You know what? Just in case I don't, let me talk about it right now. When you are, as a matter of fact, this is probably the best time to talk about it because this is when you're going to use it the most. But when you send out an email to start promoting something a little bit new, maybe something different, it's a good idea to send them to a landing page. And that landing page is nothing more than just telling them a little bit more about what you've got going on and give them an opportunity to opt in. So they're on your main list, but then they come to this landing page that is for pay-per-click traffic. They're going to fill out their name and email address. You're going to give them something else, offer them something. And that's going to put them on a secondary micro list. Like you already know that this person is now interested in pay-per-click traffic. So you've got your general list in internet marketing, and you've subdivided it now into a micro list, and you've got people that are interested in pay-per-click traffic, people that are interested in banner ads, people that are interested in private label rights products. You've got everything divided up and as laser focused as you possibly can. Use a swipe file or swipe folder, you might call it. This is simply where you see something that is good and you put it in there for reference. So maybe you get an email from somebody and you're like, the subject of that email really caught my eye. You put it in your swipe file or a folder. You can have a folder in your email client, whether you use Gmail or Outlook or something. You create a little folder there that you can call it swipe file, you can call it great emails, whatever you want to call it. But the purpose of it is that whenever you see something great, something that's effective and powerful, I saw this subject and I read it and the first paragraph really caught my attention, you put that in there for the purpose of studying it, figuring out what made it so special, what grabbed your attention, and then you incorporate those techniques into your own marketing campaign. Mail regularly. That does not mean mail every day. Definitely you don't want to, because you can overkill your list and then they'll get sick and tired of you. But you find out a regularity that they can tolerate and you need to stick to it. Maybe it's once a week. Maybe it's once every 2 weeks. I recommend definitely minimum once every 2 weeks. But they need to have regular communications from you. Otherwise, they're going to opt in today. They don't hear from you in a month. They're going to forget even that they even did it, and they're going to flag you as spam, and they won't get any more of your emails ever again, and that's a fact. They need to have consistent communication with you to be reminded that you're there and that you're trying to help them and that you have stuff to offer, so that they will be a little bit more attentive to your future mailings, actually. Subscribe to your competitor. Go so far as to even buy stuff from them and see what their follow-up response is. You're doing this to learn. I mean, this is actually, if you find a great marketer in your niche, and you can go to their whatever opt-in form they've got and subscribe, you basically just now signed up for a free email marketing campaign course, because now you're going to see how they've done it, and they're successful in the niche. Because that's one of the things. The reason that I tell you to do it to your competitor is because different niches, different things work in different niches. So what might work in the diet niche might not necessarily work in the credit repair niche. A lot of times people in the diet niche, they want instant results, and they might tolerate an email every single day trying to give them some new tip on losing weight. People in credit repair, they realize, that it's going to take a while to get through this, and it's going to be a process. So they might want to hear from you every week with something that they can do, and then they have time to actually implement that. So different things work in different niches. You want to find a successful competitor and opt into their list and see what they're doing so you can mimic it, because that's one of the easiest ways to be successful, is to find somebody who is already successful, figure out what they do, and you do it too. Monitor trends. If there's something going on, if there is, like the Olympics right now, the Winter Olympics are going on, you have an opportunity to increase sales and make more money, make like extra money, if you pay attention to trends or events that are occurring right now and figure out a way to monetize off of those. If there's something that's coming up, you can launch a campaign. Let's say that, as marketers, if you keep an eye out on what's going on, that will allow you to be more successful in your marketing. So let's say that the Super Bowl is coming up. Well, as a marketer, what you're going to try to do is then create some blogs that are catered around the keywords that people are going to be searching for during that time, and you're going to promote those. You're going to write articles that will point back to those blogs, and as the search engines grab hold of that, they're going to find that as relative content, and there's going to be a surge of searches for that, and that's going to definitely help out your site. You do the same kind of thing with your email marketing. If there's something going on, you touch on that. So if a perfect example, one that a lot of marketers use because it's so totally successful, when the 9/11 thing happened in the at the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers, there was a big deal about having survival equipment and stuff like that. Lots of new sites even came up, and lots of people made a bunch of money off of pushing that kind of stuff because they knew that's what people were interested in. Any kind of thing like that happens is going to give you an opportunity to make a whole bunch of extra money. And I'm not saying take advantage of people, but you take advantage of what is happening in the world at that particular time. You're actually helping people out in a sense, because if something's going on that, like with the Super Bowl or the Winter Olympics or a disaster or something like that, even if they're going to be looking for something because they need help, then you might as well be providing that to your email list if they're already interested in it, right? So in other words, you wouldn't, if you have a list of 20,000 internet marketers and something happens bad, that's like there's a hurricane or something and there's devastation, whatever, you're not going to send them a list to where they can get water purification or whatever, right? Not related. But if you're in that niche and the event fits in with that, definitely you take advantage of that opportunity. Low-scale testing before large-scale mailings. If you have a plan to buy traffic, let's say your goal is to send out 100,000 emails, and you're going to go to different sources and either rent lists or pay for some traffic or do some JV swaps with somebody, whatever. Wouldn't you rather have the ultimate peaked, totally tweaked email that is going to be sent out as opposed to just throwing one together and send it out? I mean, yeah, because just a little difference of a headline or, something in the email makes a big difference in the response. And if we're talking 1 or 2% difference, I mean, that's by the time you hit the whole campaign, that's pretty important. So what you have to do is first do a small test. So if you can send out an email to 5,000 people and then do a little tweak and send out a different email, just change one thing, like change the subject line. Send that to another list of 5,000 people. Then you figure out which one gets the better response, and that's the one that you're going to use for your large-scale campaign, where you might, ultimately 100 or 200, 300,000 people, depending on what you got going on, how you're going to do it. But you want to get the most out of those people that you can, and you do that by testing the campaign itself. Getting results. Send them. Yeah, I figured I was going to talk about landing pages later, but I couldn't remember for sure. Send them to a landing page, and the landing page is just where you can share more information with them. You can also have a link for them to go to a product if you want. What I recommend is that you do create another list, right? So you send them there, give them an opportunity to opt in so that they can find out more information about that specific product that you're promoting, whatever it is. And what's best on the landing page, if you can provide some kind of audio or a video or something that will engage them more. I am seeing more and more long-form sales pages. I'm not saying they don't work at all, but they're kind of going out. So if you can make the best thing that, in my opinion, you can do, and this is my experience, the best thing that you can do is make yourself a real simple PowerPoint presentation, get yourself a copy of Camtasia, get a nice microphone, do a simple little 5-10 minute presentation, and record it with, doing PowerPoint and using Camtasia to record it. Send them to that landing page. They need to, this is all about the personality, right? And feeling very personal. They need to see and hear you on an intimate level. That is so powerful, folks. I can't tell you how powerful that is. If, your sincerity comes out in your voice, if you, granted, you could bomb it if you have no personality. So you got to be careful with it, right? You don't want to send them to a landing page that says, "Hi, my name is John, and I made $20,000 and last month it was great." You don't want to send them to something like that because they're not going to buy it. But if you send them to a landing page where you say, "Hi there, my name's John, and I want to show you how last month I pulled in $22,000 with a killer technique that absolutely blew my mind when I saw it." Okay, so they see that and they feel the sincerity, right? They hear it in your voice and they see the results on the page. They're much more prone to watch a little 5-10 minute video than they would to read, 15 pages of text. So it takes a little bit of extra effort, to make a nice video, but it's really not that hard. It's really not. I'd rather make a 5 or 10 minute video with the PowerPoint presentation than make a 15-20 page sales letter any day. Okay, and I'm not saying you don't want to have the sales page if you're promoting, maybe you created a product and or you got a private label rights product, whatever, and you want to make a sales page, fine. But what I'm seeing more and more trend, not only on the squeeze page, but on the sales page, right at the top, a link to watch the sales page instead of having to read it themselves. They can actually just see delivered to them. People are lazy, right? It's much more engaging for them to experience that video than to read the sales page. But bottom line here is on the landing page, give them something that gives them the opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm interested in this," and you do that with an opt-in form. Don't forget your customers. People who have purchased from you previously are much more likely to purchase from you in the future. And when I say purchase previously, that might mean 2 minutes ago. So here's an opportunity for you. You want to increase your revenue without hardly any extra effort and zero additional ad spend or any extra kind of monetary effort. Let me tell you the quick and easy way to do that. Whenever somebody does buy something from you, on the thank you page, give them the opportunity to buy something else. Maybe they can upgrade, or maybe there's something related in that niche. It could be an affiliate offer, something of yours, doesn't matter. Give them the opportunity. They're in the mood to buy. They just bought from you. They proved, hey, I trust you. I think what you gave me is going to be a good deal. This is kind of like an OTO, one-time offer, or an upsell. But do it on the thank you page. Hey, it can't hurt anything, right? Don't kill the winners. What does that mean? That means if you sign up for let's say, some type of list rental thing, or a newsletter mailing or something where you can pay and send out an email. They'll send it out on your behalf, right? Or you've got a JV partner that sends out an email for you. If that's working for you, then don't stop it. Don't let them, send out a list and then you move on to something else when that was successful. So in other words, if they do it and they mail out and they make you $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 off of that one mailing, try it again. Use the same source, same list, and see if you get any kind of response. It's not just like a one-off thing, like they send it out one time and that's all that you're going to get. You can't think, well, everybody who would have bought from me bought from that mailing. No, that's not the case. I can't even tell you. I can't even begin to tell you. I've got JV partners that send out to their list, make a few $1,000s, like that's their commission, just from sending out one email, and then they do it the next month. They send it out again. They make another few $1,000s in commission. Not to mention that I make a few $1,000s off of the sales. That's the way that it works. If it's working, just like with your own list, I know this, and I hope you know it too. If I have a list of 20,000 people and I send out something, I send out an opportunity or an affiliate link or something, I don't expect that everybody on the list that would purchase that actually does the first time around. It just doesn't work that way. You send it out, you get a response. If the response is pretty good, then you're going to send out the same thing again later on, because your chances are you're going to get another response. People are not always, ready and in the mood to buy. They're not always looking at that exact opportunity. You might catch them on a bad day. You might catch them when they're in a hurry. You might catch them when they don't have any money at that particular time. Lots of factors come into play. So if you send it out and it does work, definitely send it out again. Same list. What is your address? And here's what we're talking about. A big trend that I'm seeing online is not just the old name and email address thing anymore. It is physical address. Like, where would you receive mail? And this is like a twofold thing. Not only is it going to be beneficial to be able to market to the people by sending them something in the mail, and I'll talk about that in a second, but also they're demonstrating a much higher level of trust by giving you that type of information. Here's the best way to do that. Come up with something that has to be mailed, like physically mailed. That could be a free CD or DVD. It could be a free report, something that you've put together that's actually printed out and you're not offering it as a download. Tell them, I want to give you this free DVD on how I made $1 million in 1 year doing whatever, some kind of tactic. And say, I need your address to ship it. Okay? That's simple enough, makes sense, right? Got to have my address in order to ship me the DVD. Well, now what you can do is you've got their address, you're going to ship it out. It's money well invested, because it's going to cost you maybe a couple of bucks to do that, to send that out. And spending that kind of money for a list of people that are willing to give you their physical address is like gold. Definitely worth it. But here's what you get. Now, you send them the free offer. Now, instead of emailing them all the time about opportunities that you've got, how about sending them a postcard And guess what? Direct mail has always been really big. I mean, it used to be like huge when there was no internet, right? And then as the internet matured, people started using that as a way to generate money and talk to people, definitely. But now, the reason that we're seeing this a lot is because how hard is it to guarantee deliverability of emails? Boy, it can be tough. People, they get so many emails. A lot of times they don't read stuff. And spam filters can just trash your email before they ever even get an opportunity to read it. All kinds of deliverability issues that, in fact, I've done a training specifically on deliverability because it can be tough. Well, I'm finding a lot of marketers more and more incorporating offline marketing strategies, the old school stuff that appeals to these people, and the deliverability is almost guaranteed. It's very rare that they don't actually get it. And it's one thing that happens with offline marketing that does not happen with email is that on occasion, so maybe somebody gets somebody else's mail. Well, big deal. I mean, at least you got it before somebody. There's an opportunity that they could act on it as well. How many times do you see to such and such or current resident? Right? Because it might be something that they're interested in as well, right? But with email, that doesn't happen. If it's the wrong address, then nobody gets it. It just bounces around in cyberspace until it just disintegrates. Well, with offline strategies, think about this for a minute. If you get a postcard from me and it's a nice looking postcard and it's on this thing that you specifically requested information about, how more likely are you to actually read that and take action on it? Much more, because it's not something that happens every day, right? Here's the kinds of mail that we get. We get general things like catalogs and stuff like that really it appeals to anybody, so who cares? We get offers for unsolicited things, like people wanting, you go buy a house. Next thing you know, you start getting all kinds of offers for insurance and to refinance. Not interested. You just get it out of the blue. Insurance offers, stuff like that. So you get a lot of this stuff that just everybody gets. What's going to happen if you open your mailbox and there's a postcard in there and you specifically have subscribed to this diet list because you're overweight and you need to get some help and you're trying to lose weight, and you get this postcard that says, hey, here's how I lost 25 pounds in 60 days and I can show you how to do it. It's like, hey, that's exactly what I've been looking for. And it came to my mailbox. It's catered to me. So it's something that's a little bit different, and people are much more responsive to it. Before you ever actually click the send button on your email campaign, check your spam score. This is a little side tip on deliverability. That is one thing that can increase the amount of response that you get because it increases the amount of successfully delivered emails, and it's real easy to do. If you use Aweber as your autoresponder, a lot of the other autoresponders do this as well, but with Aweber, it gives you a spam score. You create an email, and then when you get it ready and you save it, before it sends out, it shows you, here's your spam score. And if it is too high, it's going to throw up a flag and tell you, hey, you better make a change. And I've been able to do that myself where, anymore nowadays, it's very rare that I'll create a message that even looks like spam. But I have made a message, and in Aweber, after I save it, it'll show your spam score is like 2.1 or whatever like that. And all I got to do is go back in, do a few little tweaks and changes, save it, come back out. Oh, your spam score is 0.3, and it's perfectly fine. It's going to send out. You're not going to have to worry about deliverability issues. So that's one quick and easy way to increase your response rate is by increasing the successful delivery rate. So I hope that was helpful to you. I guarantee if you implement these strategies into your marketing campaign, you're going to start seeing more emails get opened. You're going to start seeing more actions being taken, and bottom line, more revenue. Let's move on to the next video. In this video, what we're going to do is look at some more advanced tactics for increasing the action, the conversion, increasing the amount of money that you make from each individual list that you have. First up, you want to educate your subscribers. That is the goal of your email campaign. Don't look at it so much as, I've got a list of 10,000 people, so here's the amount of money that I need to make. Approach it from the standpoint that you actually feel it's your responsibility to educate these people on whatever it is. So you've actually got a burden for that. What we see a lot of times is people that are led about by greed and they're doing everything with the motivation to make money. Guess what happens? It doesn't work typically. I mean, not to say that nobody motivated by greed ever makes money, because they do, but as far as being a success, and it's my goal to help you be a success in your life, not just in marketing. Right? I want to help you be happy with yourself. So approach this from the standpoint that you're a teacher and it is your job, it's your responsibility when people come on your list to help them, to educate them. And as kind of like a side benefit, you're going to make money doing that. Have a call to action in your emails. This is something that, people, I see this on sales pages still, although most people are catching up to that, but I see it in emails all the time. You don't just put a link in your email and assume people know to click on it. You actually need to tell them to click on it, to watch the video, to click on it and fill out the form, whatever it is. You want to have a call to action. And it kind of goes... it's one of those things that people they eliminate because you're sitting down writing this email and you know what you want people to do. So you're so close to the problem that you're not able to realize that you really do need to tell them to do that. Attention-grabbing subject lines are very critical in your marketing campaign, because it doesn't matter how good your offer is. It doesn't matter how good what your, maybe you've got a free webinar for them to sign up and watch, and it's going to be very valuable. Even the copy in your email could be really, really, really good. But the fact is, if your subject line isn't good and doesn't grab their attention, they're never going to read about the webinar. They're never going to sign up, and they're never going to get that good content that you're giving them. So an attention-grabbing subject line is critical. You have to be careful with the things that you put in the subject line, because there's kind of like there's a very fine line in attention-grabbing and spammy, which if it's spammy, then they'll never see it. So here are some things that you want to do and some things that you don't want to do to help your subject line be attention-grabbing but not violate any other rules. One is, don't use the person's name in the subject line. I know, we all see this, and there are people that still teach that you need to do this. But listen what I am finding here. First, let me tell you the premise of why they do this. Because spammers generally go out and they just harvest email addresses. So they typically don't have people's first name, whereas as a legitimate marketer, I ask for their first name and their email address, and they give it to me. Okay, same thing for you. So as a distinction, some marketers, actually a lot, started using their first name. Our autoresponder allows us to pop in a first name from what the people filled out. Allows us to pop that in kind of like a little placeholder thing. So my email might say, "Hi, John, check this out," whatever. Well, the thing is that the spammers really couldn't do that. So a lot of marketers started utilizing that tactic. The thing is, how often, if you're writing an email to a friend, How often do you put their first name in the subject line? Probably never. More than likely never. So the thing is that while that did work for a little while because people were like, hey, they saw, my name is there, and that was kind of new. Well, it's gotten old, and people pick up on it way too quickly. So it's just, I generally don't like using somebody's name even in the emails unless it is with the normal flow of the conversation. Because what you want to focus on is that your email seems very personal and it seems very much one-on-one. So it's okay to use the name in the email with the placeholder there, right? I do that myself. But you don't want to use it just for the sake of using it. You want to use it when it seems appropriate. Target the audience, meaning figure out exactly what it is that they're looking for. What have they opted into your list for? And deliver exactly that to them. So if you've got a list of internet marketers, and let's just say that you're in the internet marketing list. If you are going to promote maybe a product for free traffic generation, or a product on pay-per-click or social networking, something like that, you want to cater that specific, get in mind who it is that you're trying to reach and specifically give that to them. If your audience is, let's say that it's some kind of weight loss thing, okay, or fitness, something like that. You want to address them. When I say targeting the audience, you want to actually address them, pull them out of the crowd, so to speak, even though it's going to fit your whole list. In other words, if you're wanting to target internet marketing newbies, then you actually state that. You need to target them for internet marketing newbies, for advanced internet marketers. Here's a tactic for advanced internet marketers. Because you'll have all types on your list, right? Let's say that you're dealing with a fitness, health and fitness kind of niche, and there's a product that has come out that would be beneficial to stay-at-home moms. You want to actually mention that. So you want to, because what's going to happen is actually, I'm going to be showing you how to segregate your lists and make smaller lists of individual, circumstances. Like the list, you might have a general health and fitness list. But then what you'll have underneath that is you might have you might have another list that is specifically for men. Okay, you might have another list that is for young mothers, another list for teens, whatever. But you're going to break it down so that you can send out general messages to the whole, everybody that would be interested in whatever the product is, but you also have the ability to send out specifically to stay-at-home moms that are interested in fitness. Okay? Use power words like new, exclusive, fast, unlimited, things that carry a weight with them, things that attract people and that have some emotion involved in them. You're going to use those in your subject line. Notice also that I did not capitalize any of those words. Don't capitalize the first letter of each word. Why? Well, because it looks too much like a corporate style email. It looks too much like an email that they get from some online business or something. And we're again wanting to affect the form of a very personal letter. Every one of your autoresponder messages should seem like, one rule of thumb that I go by is I write my emails with the expectation that people are going to read them and feel like I just sat down and wrote that to them and they'll actually reply. So if I have a series, an autoresponder series, and I don't get replies back, then I go back and rework it because I'm missing something if that's the case. I'm happy when I start to get replies from people that say, hey, thanks for telling me about this or whatever. So that's one of the things that makes it less personal if you capitalize all of the first letter of each word. It just looks a little too corporate. Don't use crazy characters and excessive punctuation. I will show you an example of this in a minute, but people try to write, make things look funny with using punctuation and symbols and try to grab attention, and they really don't. People detect that as spam. They don't even read it, and the spam, the engines that weed out email and detect spam, a lot of times they pick that up and the person never even sees it anyway. Avoid using the word you in a subject line. Here again, because we don't usually write the word you in a subject line, the spam detection software is kind of picking up on that. And so this is a way that we can, help to avoid our message getting pulled out, right? And that's what we want to do. Every opportunity, every little thing that we can do to increase deliverability is going to help with conversions. If I have a list of 10,000 people and 5,000 of them never get the messages that I send out because they get, pulled by spam engines, then that's going to affect, of course, my conversions. I can say I sent out 10,000 emails and I had 100 sales, but really, I actually got 5,000 of them actually sent out. So we want to try to increase deliverability as much as possible. Now here's some bad subject line examples. This is what I'm talking about with funny characters and excessive punctuation. It's just annoying. People just look at it and they don't pay much attention to it. Avoid excessive claims also. John, you can make $40,000 this weekend. Here again, use the name and capitalized all the first letter of each one of these, and I made an excessive claim. That seems pretty unbelievable. And in fact, when John sees this, he's going to think, okay, this is some kind of, Publishers Clearinghouse type of thing. Because just the way that it looks, the formatted and the claim that it makes. Here's some better subject lines, and some of these are very simple, but you'll find that a lot of times that is the case. More effective subject lines happen to be more simple. Only 3 spots left. Piques curiosity. It seems a little more personal because it's mentioning part of what's going on, and definitely when they see this, they're gonna say, 3 spots left for what, and they're gonna go ahead and read it. I used this and it worked. That's another real simple one. These subject lines, really, folks, what you want to do is, number 1, seem personal. Number 2, tell them that there is, if you can relate to them very quickly, the message that the content of this email is important and is going to help you, then that's what's going to get their attention and cause them to actually read it. A friend of mine lost 15 pounds with this. That's, again, if you're in the weight loss diet, something like that, somebody's going to read this subject line, and it's going to take them, 2 seconds to read it. And they're going to go, okay, I want to read this email. Here's some more subject line tips. One of my favorites, keep it simple, stupid. When you create your subject line, the last examples that I gave you kind of illustrates that. You want to basically just tell them the content of this email is going to help you out. You have to definitely follow through with that, okay? When you say a friend of mine lost 15 pounds with this, your email needs to be about that, because if it's not going to take too many of those emails, and they're going to just totally ignore you altogether. But short and sweet, cut to the chase, and let them know this email is genuinely going to help you. WIIFM. Bear in mind that everybody in the world is listening to this radio station. What's in it for me? So as you sit down and write your subject line, that's one of the things that you bear in mind is you have to relate to your reader that this email is going to solve a problem for them. It's going to help them. It's not all about buy my stuff. It's about, hey, look, here's something I can do for you. Your personality sells, not your autoresponder. This is something that probably needs even more stress put on it, but I'll do my best here with this. Your very unique personality is what is going to separate you from the regular marketing world that's out there. So therefore, in everything that you do, not only your subject line, but the actual emails themselves, you need to let that personality come through. And if maybe you don't have a personality, or maybe you have a personality that a lot of people don't get along with, okay, whatever the case might be, you can go ahead and affect a different personality. You can you can have maybe a writing personality where maybe you're normally a pretty sober, relaxed individual, and you want to seem energetic in your emails, okay? So you affect that energy when you sit down to write, but you need to have a focused personality that people can recognize and let that come out in everything that you write, really. Read the newspaper. This is a good place to go to get ideas for headlines, because newspapers, I might add a lot of the magazines that you go to the store and they have at the checkout, same kind of thing there. What they do, and they're very, very good at it, is they target a specific part of a story that they want to tell. And a lot of times I know they target a part of it that's maybe not quite 100% accurate, okay, but it tells a story in and of itself, a part of a story at least, or maybe a certain a viewpoint of the story in a very short space. And that's essentially what the subject line needs to do. So if you read the newspaper, check out the headlines, and you can get great ideas for attention-grabbing headlines that do fulfill all of the needs here, that show what's in it for me, and that are very simple, short, and sweet, and that will allow your personality to come out. Always test your subject lines. This is definitely, I'm not going to say it's the most important thing, but it's definitely one of the top 5 of successful email marketing campaigns. You need to make sure that you, at every phase, you're making tests. So one nice thing about Aweber is that it allows you to do split testing. So you can take and let's say you got a list of 20,000 people. Okay, you can send out a message to 1,000 people, and then send out another version with just the subject line different. Send that out to another 1,000 people, and then you wait for the results. So maybe the next day you check it out and you see which one has a higher open rate. And there you go. Now you take the one that's better, and you can either test again if you want and send to another 1,000 people. Come up with a third subject line, send to another 1,000, and take whichever one is best, or go ahead and just take the one that performed the best, send it to the remainder of your list. Very, very powerful and effective way to increase conversions. People do look at the from field. In fact, there was a study that showed that most people, in deciding if they're going to open the email, the first thing they look at is the from field. Also, if whatever you do use in the from field, because you could use your name, you could use your company name or your website name or your newsletter name if you wanted to. Whatever you put there, bear in mind that that's showing up already, so you don't need to repeat it in the subject line, right? So if your list is, if you have a newsletter called Losing Weight Fast, then you don't put in the subject line Losing Weight Fast newsletter because they're just going to see it twice. Take advantage of those characters and come up with something a little bit more persuasive. Specialty lists. Let's talk about that for a little bit. These are lists that can be used for very special, unique purposes and allow you to build a list oftentimes very quickly. An announcement list. This would be like, let's say that you're in the Forex niche, okay? So you have you set up and create an announcement list for, advice or something. You could do if you had some kind of stocks kind of list, also some kind of internet marketing list where new traffic strategies that come out, you'll announce that. If you could create a list for new products, if you want people to know when you release a new product, that kind of thing. And this is a very specialty list that you're not going to, just send them emails all the time. They're only going to get it when whatever you said you would, tell them about occurs. So you release a new product, or there's some kind of trend in the Forex market, and you shoot out an email and it goes to them. An additional information list. That's pretty self-explanatory. If people just want to find out some more information about a specific product or a technique or something, then they can sign up. They can get more information. A lot of times, these lists, you're not going to, hammer them like you would a regular list. The purpose of them is just to deliver something in a way that, whatever you specified initially. A registration list. This is a good idea for getting people to participate and be a little more interactive. Let's say that you have, sold an ebook, and the ebook gets distributed with a temporary password. You actually can configure ebooks so that they're, time sensitive. They can use and read it for a week or whatever, and then they need a different password. So what you can do is have that temporary password in there, and then take them to a thank you page and let them know that in order to get the unlimited password, they need to register the product with you. So that's a real good way. That kind of thing, though, for registration, potential JV list. One thing that you will find as you start becoming more and more successful in internet marketing is people do start contacting you for, JV partnerships where they want to work with you on maybe cross-promoting or promoting a new product or something. And what you can do is on your website have, maybe an affiliates page or something, and right on there too you can have a form and let them know this is for potential JV partners. If you're interested in a joint venture with us, please fill out this form, and you can say, we don't have any openings right now, but from time to time we do experiment and explore other opportunities. So, something like that, just to start building a list. That way, when you do need it, you can let them know, we don't have anything right now, but we may in the future. And that way, when you do need it, lo and behold, you check out your potential JV list there, and you've got, 50 JV partners, people who have said they would be interested in doing something with you. And then, that's at least you don't have to start from zero, right? All right, your content. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Your content, the stuff that you send out, bear in mind that this is making you, this is representing you. It's building your business. With that in mind, only promote stuff that actually works. Because guess what? If you promote junk, people are going to perceive you as a promoter of junk, and more than likely you don't want that. So this is kind of a difficult call because I know a lot of people, they go out there, the goal is they just want to make money. And unfortunately, if that's what you're trying to do, more than likely it's not going to be so much a success for you. You have to have a goal of building a business, not just making money so you can get a nicer car. You need a goal of building a business because that's what this is all about. So that being the case, when you do promote something else, you want to make sure that it's not junk. You want to make sure that it is helpful, that it works, that it is beneficial to your subscribers. Because when you promote stuff that does work, when you promote stuff that genuinely does help them, then they have like a bond with you. When you promote something that is junk and they try it out based on your recommendation, what do you think that does to your image? It doesn't help it, that's for sure. And that's why a lot of people out there are, real careful about what they promote. They don't just promote anything because they know that it's damaging to their reputation if it's junk. Here is something that you can consider doing. I'm not going to make it a requirement, but I am going to make it a heavy suggestion. Write a full year's worth of emails for like if you have let's say that you have a Excel list, how to use Microsoft Excel, something like that. You have an Excel product that you're selling. What you would want to do, and if you offer to, maybe as your ethical bribe to get them on the list, you tell them that you send out monthly Excel tips or weekly Excel tips or whatever it is. Actually compile, get a whole year's worth of those things already in the autoresponder setup. I know it sounds like it's going to be a lot of work, but listen, it's going to take you a few days to do it, and you're going to be set for a year. So that's going to allow you to focus on other aspects of your business. It's going to relieve you immensely. You would not, you can't even imagine how much so, because you will have that working for you for the next year without having to worry about it. And again, we want to let the personality come through there. So it's not the autoresponder that is doing the selling. It's what you put. It's the content. It's the personality that you put in there. And if you have a whole year's worth, it's just going to be such a big help to you. So you might not necessarily do it for all of your lists, but try to do it at least for one. And I think once you do that, you'll be like, that was a big help to me. So I'm going to sit down and do it for the other ones. Use an unadvertised bonus on your confirmation page. This is a killer over the top, secret. How many people go out and set up an autoresponder and they don't even think of the power of the confirmation page? And what do? They use the one that's supplied by the autoresponder company, like AWeber. Just a default generic page that says, hey, thanks for signing up. Check your email. What a waste. That individual just opted in to they just overcame a huge hurdle. That is the time when you want to hit them up with something else. So go to the trouble of creating your own confirmation page, put it on your server, and give them an unadvertised bonus, something that they didn't expect. You didn't say anything about it, but it's a freebie that's just going to be, beneficial to them. You are building at that point, you're building a very strong trust relationship. They're going to be like, hey, he is just awesome giving me all this stuff. And the next time you send out something for them to buy, they're going to be 100 times more likely to do it. Give your subscribers something that they can give away to somebody else. Why? Because every one of your subscribers will then become essentially an affiliate of, it might even be a free affiliate, like they just work for you. They're your salesperson. In your ebook, maybe you give them an ebook and then you tell them, feel free to distribute this to your friends, because in your ebook, you have links. You have links back to your site. You have links back to products that you're selling and that you're promoting. So you're just giving it to them and tell them, feel free to, give this to friends. Bribe plus traffic equals opt-in. This is an equation that it just doesn't fail. You need to have an ethical bribe. Nowadays, just about everybody has learned you have to give away something in order to get people to opt in. Used to be in the old days, you could get away with it as long as you had an opt-in form. People would come there and they would actually opt in. But now people are getting so much junk mail. Pretty much everybody knows I got to have something to give them in order to get them to opt in. What's going to separate you from the yahoos out there, the small timers, is having a good quality bribe. Something that, they can't just, like, for example, how many times do you opt in to something and what you get is like a 3-page ebook that looks like a kindergartner wrote it, or somebody from overseas and you can't hardly read everything, or it's a 3-page ebook that has 8 pictures in it and 20-point text. So the text is humongous, and it says the same thing like 3 times. Okay, so when you have a bribe like that, when you have an ethical bribe, they judge you based on that first impression. They judge you based on what they get from you. Okay, so he's stingy, he's skimpy, the content isn't really even that good, it didn't teach me much. So they unconsciously associate you with that and the future products that you try to promote and sell to them. So what that means is your product, your free product that you're giving away, needs to be exactly that, a product. It needs to be something that you could sell online because it's that good. It gives them that much information, and the quality of it is very good. What I highly recommend, and anymore now, I don't even think I have any, let me think real quick. I don't think I have any free app. There's one free offer that I have that is still an ebook. All the rest are little video mini courses, because that is, I mean, that's what works. You just get yourself a copy of Camtasia, PowerPoint, do a presentation just like what I'm talking about here, but you give them maybe a 10-minute, 5 or 10-minute lesson, and if you do a series of those, tell them that they're going to sign up for a 5-day video mini course on, perfecting your racquetball swing, whatever. And the content of it, again, needs to be of the quality that you could sell it. It needs to be that good. So what they do is, in their mind, here's the way it works. If his quality is this good on the stuff that he gives away, I can only imagine about the stuff that I actually have to purchase. So when the time comes and you do send them the opportunity to buy something from you, they're going to jump on it, because they're going to be like, his free stuff is so good. I can, I can only imagine what this is going to be like. So the equation, though, is bribe plus traffic equals opt-in. Here's the way that it works. Without either one of those two, you're not going to get the opt-in. So without the ethical bribe or without the traffic, it's not going to happen. They go hand in hand, and so don't try it. If you don't have a bribe, don't bother sending traffic. And if you do have the bribe, if you do have a good product, then you better be sending traffic, because it ain't just going to happen. The old adage, if you build it, they'll come. That does not work online, not at all. Just because it's there, I can't tell you how many pages there are on the internet that nobody ever sends traffic to and nobody ever visits. Okay. Location, location, location. What about our opt-in? Where should it go? Well, definitely you want it above the fold, and that would work for a squeeze page and a sales page. Squeeze page, the reason I mention that is because most of the time people are doing smaller squeeze pages now, which is my preference. It's just like one screen. But they can be a little bit on the tall side. You don't obviously want to put it down below where they have to scroll in order to see it. You want to have it right there where they see it and notice it immediately. Also, have an opt-in in line with the content. So if you're talking about a sales page, for example, or you're talking about another, a product page or something like that, have another opt-in form in line, so while they're reading, they again have the opportunity to opt in. It's very important that they see this wherever they might get an inclination to go ahead and opt in. Also consider, this is something fairly new that I have seen. I haven't been able to do this on any of my opt-ins yet, but I do have it in the works. Put the opt-in form in the video. I use a whole lot of video in my marketing, and this is one of the things that I'm getting ready to implement here within the next couple of weeks, actually, is creating a video with an opt-in form. Now, that requires a little bit of Flash programming, and if you can't do it yourself, if you're not inclined to technical stuff, then you'll have to have somebody on, like rentacoder.com or elance.com do that part for you. But the way this works is not having, and it's still fairly new, okay, so you can get on it pretty quick, but typically what people have, and I'll just draw it for you real quick, typically what they have is a video playing right here, and then name, email address, and a submit button. Okay, but what this is actually talking about is having a video, and it takes up the whole area. They watch the video, and then at the end, a box pops up for them to put their name and email address and the button right there inside the video. It's actually pretty slick. It looks really nice, and it definitely grabs their attention, and it's something that's still fairly new, so it's very effective. Let's talk about the ethical bribe that we're giving away, or the offer itself. Somebody comes to your squeeze page, and what I see time and time again that I got to go over is they're actually trying to sell the product on the squeeze page, and that's a real bad idea. They're trying to make it kind of like a mini sales page, but it doesn't work really. If you get somebody to come to your squeeze page, or you can call it a landing page or capture page, you are trying to sell the opt-in. In other words, 100% goal is get them to enter their name and email address, whatever information you're trying to collect. So that means that everything on the squeeze page has the intent and purpose of getting them to enter those details and submit them. That's the whole point. So you're not trying to sell a product. Like, one of the biggest things that I do nowadays is, if I've got something to sell, I don't even mention the product on the squeeze page. Okay, the product name is never mentioned. The the price, obviously, nothing like that. What I've done is I've created a little mini course, a video course that they can watch, that's going to give them some really valuable information that's related in that niche. So I know that if they would be interested in this certain product, then they would be interested in receiving the information that I have. So I've created the mini course, and what I'm selling is the opportunity for them to learn, to better themselves. People tend to buy. They don't buy things, they buy what the thing will do for them. Same goes for the opt-in page here. They don't opt in to get something. They opt in to get what that thing can do for them. That's the facts. So don't think just because you have an ebook or a video mini course or something that alone makes people opt in. It doesn't. You have to be able to demonstrate what that thing is going to do for them. So you're selling the opt-in by expressing to them what they're going to gain by the free giveaway that you're giving them. Not the product. We're not talking about the product. It's not even mentioned. You're just talking about what it is that you're about to give them and what benefit they'll receive from that. I like to use a video e-course. I've already said that several times, but I just want to stress it again. This is what I find to be most effective, and the reason is this. It's not something that they download, okay? A lot of times with an ebook, you will give them a link where they can download it. If you do it smart, at least you will send them to a web page where you have an opportunity to show them some other stuff, right? And they can, in other words, in your email, if you are using an ebook, do not put the link to download the ebook right there in the email. You put a link to a website where they'll go, and the product, the ebook that you're giving away, the download link is on that website. And they can go there and they can click and they can download it, but you've got other stuff there. Okay, so you've got them to come visit you again. And that's better. The more and more we can get people to be exposed to us, the more likely that they are that they're going to buy from us eventually. But what this is you set up the same thing. You set up a page. You can have day one, and it's set up on a certain page, and there's a video for them to watch. So they come and watch the video. But on the same page where they watch the video, you've got a link where they could download or where they could visit the sales page for the product that you're promoting. Maybe it's an affiliate link, or Maybe it's a product of your own that you're selling. But right there when they watch the video, they have the opportunity to go and click and find out some more information. And you do that with every single one of them. Let's say you have a 5-day e-course. So the first email that they get about it, they got the link, they go to the website, they watch the video. There's a link there where they can find out some more information if they want to. And the second day, they get an email that says, hey, here's day 2, whatever. And they go to that page. And then they can watch day 2's video, and of course, there's the link again every day. It's they're getting exposed to the same kind of thing. But the videos, they're more engaging. People are much more likely to watch a 5 or 10 minute video than they are to read a couple of chapters in an ebook. Just because it's people tend to be lazy, and they like receiving information like that a lot. So especially if you can present it in a good quality and valuable information, they really like that. Let them know that they are going to expect future emails. So in your first email, generally when people opt in, you want to make sure that you're telling them you're going to get on my newsletter or whatever, and you're going to receive valuable information, blah, blah, blah. But definitely in the first email, you want to let them know too to expect future emails. A nice thing that you can do, a way that you can do that, is by helping them to know how to add you as a safe sender. Here's what a safe sender is. With everybody's spam systems and ISPs monitoring and trying to strip out spam and eliminate it and all this kind of stuff, they've developed what's called a safe sender. And if somebody has like an antivirus program or anti-spyware or something like that, and it's built into their their email client, or even if they're online using like Gmail and Yahoo and Hotmail and stuff like that, there is generally a way that you can specify that a certain email address is safe, and that no matter what they send, you want to see that email. So even if, in other words, if there are certain criteria that the email client or the anti-spam software is looking for, and I send an email to you and it has that criteria, maybe I did everything wrong, and I would normally throw up a flag. Well, because my email address is in your safe sender list, it's not even going to pay attention to any of that. It's just going to go ahead and deliver the email. So if you can show them how to do that for a variety of email clients and programs and stuff, have little tutorials or a little step-by-step guide, and let them know that they definitely want to add that in there, because you're going to be sending them valuable information and they don't want to miss it, that kind of thing. Provide ongoing valuable content. So with our bribe, our ethical bribe, we are going to give them some stuff that is, of course, of value. But at the end of that 5-day mini course, we're not going to just stop there. Okay, we're going to continue to give the people on our list valuable information. They might not be ready when they get to the end of that 5-day e-course. They might not be ready to buy for a lot of different reasons. Some people just, they move slowly. They don't act very quickly. So what we're going to do is to continue after that to provide valuable content that generally will help them out. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be stuff that you would package and sell. It doesn't have to be like that. The e-course should be. Like, the e-course should be good enough that you could sell it on its own. Okay, but this is just going to be helpful information to help them along the way, give them more, of a better view of you, because you're constantly just building your relationship. That's all that this email stuff is all about, is you building your relationship with them so that they trust you more and trust your advice. Here, I want to talk about the actual content of the emails. 300 words maximum length. And you might creep over that just a little bit if you have. I'm not saying if you finish an email that's 305 words, you have to cut the last 5 words off. Don't take it to that extent, but you want to stick to right around 300 words. Don't make it too long. And I'm not saying you have to do 300 words, by no means. Some of the most successful emails are very short. Maybe you did a video. As a matter of fact, I've got a good marketing buddy that what he typically does when he wants to promote something is he shoots a nice video and talks, to the people about the product and why he's promoting it. And in his actual email, it may be 15, 20 words that goes out. And then it gives them a link to where they can watch the video and they can find out some more information. He gets a really good response from that kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be long, but definitely you don't want it more than 300 words. 80% of your emails should be 100% content. That means out of 10 emails, 8 of them are completely helpful, valuable content that you are basically giving away. No charge, no obligation. You're not even trying to sell something. They're just completely informative and helpful. If, some marketers make the mistake of the only time people hear from them is when they're selling something. And it doesn't work. Response rates go way down. You need to build up a type of anticipation where these people actually are like, I can hardly wait to get another email from, John Marketer, because he's always helping me out. And it's good stuff. And so the next time your email shows up in their inbox, just because it's from you, they're going to read it. Doesn't even matter what the subject line is. Doesn't matter, how frequently you do it. If it's from you, I'm going to read it. So they open it up. And, if you reverse that and 80% of the times you emailed, you tried to sell them something, and then 20% you gave them free content, what's going to happen? Like pretty soon, they're not even going to read your free content because they have this feeling that if you're sending them an email, it must be about you trying to sell something. So they tend to ignore it. You don't have an opportunity to build that relationship with them. But if 80% of the stuff that you send out is free, helpful, informative content that they value, then they're going to read it. And then you will, of course, get them with the 20% that you send out that's, hey, I need you to buy some stuff from me so I can stay in business. That kind of thing. 100% personality. Make sure that you shine forth in all your splendid glory. Be yourself, folks. That's what it's all about, because that's what sells. People act on emotion. Don't forget this. So in your emails, what you want to do is try to provoke emotion if you can, because there's actually, I did a training on left and right brain kind of things. It was actually on decision making, but one of the things that I discovered in doing research for that project was that your right brain, which makes emotional kind of actions, it reacts emotionally. Your left brain is logical, right? Well, your right brain actually starts to work on a problem 0.4 of a second before your left brain. So it gets kind of a jump. So that's why a lot of times when we see something come up, we make a quick decision and then we stop and think about it for a minute. Because the right brain said go, and then the left brain caught up and said, hey, hold back now. Hold on a second. But if we can, we want to try to get people to affect their emotions, and then they'll be using that right brain to make those decisions, which a lot of times is kind of trigger happy. So that works out very nice for us. Here's your goals, and this is going to be the last slide, and I'm going to close with some words of advice here on what you're looking for, what you're trying to get. Opt-ins on your squeeze page should be at least 30%. So if you're below 30%, then you need to do something about your offer. What we're talking about here is out of 100 people visiting your squeeze page, okay, or any page that has your opt-in form on it, out of 100 people, you need a minimum of 30 that actually opt in. So there again, if your numbers are below that, and really 50 and 60% is not unheard of. But if your numbers are below 30%, you need to tweak your offer and make it, it needs to be better. So you need to change something on the squeeze page to increase that, get it up. open rates on your emails should be at least 60%. And I know that's going to sound like a shocker, but listen, if you're doing this right, if you are providing the kind of information that you should be, and you're doing your marketing homework, then that's the kind of open rate that you should get. Fact is, we will have deliverability issues pop up. We will catch people that are on vacation and they're not there to get their emails. But what I like to see is when I send out an email, 60% open rate. Now, doesn't necessarily mean that 60% are going to do what I wanted them to do, but at least 60% need to open it up and, read the email. As far as actual action, email responses should be at least 25%. Now, that means I need to quantify the numbers here. That does not mean if I send out 100 emails that 25% of the people do what I want them to do, because we have the the open rate that we have to take into consideration. So what that means is, let's say, and I'm going to use fairly round numbers just to make it simple to do the math, because I don't like doing math in my head. If I've got 100 emails that go out and I've got a 50% open rate, okay, that's half. It's a little bit short of what I would like. That means 50 people did open the email. Of those 50 people, 25% of them should click on it. Okay, so a quarter of them, about 12 people should click and act. If you get above that, that is fantastic. But what you'll find is you should keep track of all of the emails that you send out and keep track of the statistics. So what you do is, in your swipe file, you can create a swipe file specifically for your stuff. So you send out an email and you send it out to your list. Maybe you got 5,000 people on your list, and you get a 65% open rate. Okay, fantastic. And then you get, out of those that opened it, you get a 40% response. People click on the link and do what it is that you wanted them to do, which is, click on the link. That doesn't mean your sales are that high, right? It just means that people actually did click on it. Well, what you want to do is keep track of that, and maybe even if you want, you can go to the extent of making an Excel spreadsheet to say, okay, here was my subject line, here was how many people I sent to, here is the open rate, and here is the response rate. This percentage of people clicked on it. Well, the next time you send out another one, maybe it bombs and you got a 10% open rate, and the email response was like 5%. It was just ridiculous. So what you want to do is keep track of that kind of stuff and analyze it and look at, okay, this one here worked. Why did it work? And this one here didn't work. And why didn't it work? And that will, definitely make you a better marketer, make you a better email marketer. All right, so I wish you the very best in getting maximum cash from your email list. Thank you so much for joining me, and squeeze the trigger and ride the bullet.